Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the Matilda. It's a tier 4 British medium tank. It's located on the north spawn of mines, and this one is under the command of Wazwulf of REBRN. Now he's got the 2-pounder. I can tell that straight away because he's got the Little John adapter right at the end of his barrel, and that's the device that turns that 40mm round into quite a dangerous piece of flying metal because it speeds up the metal and makes it much easier to penetrate targets. Now it's only capable of doing 55 alpha, but it'll penetrate 121 with standard ammo, and with the premium APCR it will go through 145mm, so there's not much it can't penetrate at tier 4. Well, we can see that the enemy has managed to get one tank into the castle grounds on the hill, a BT7 Arty, who's probably got wiped out by another BT7, a booster tanky. Is that Shem? Shem, yes, Shem 7. Trying to remember my Russian there. Anyway, Wazwulf decided he's going to go round the castle or round the hill and try and attack the enemy that are coming up the east side of the map. He's bound to come up against some opposition. The enemy has a Panzer B2. In fact, we've just spotted a Panzer II Aslains G with his autocannon. He's got the 30mm cannon. It doesn't have as many shots as the top one on the Lux or the Leopard, but it's still dangerous because those 30mm rounds are very easy to penetrate targets. And I was trying to get this shots on this Italian, and he takes a round from a Chihi who's managed to just sneak in over there in the corner and kind of stops us from pushing on this corner because we've only got this house for protection. If we poke too far, we get shot at by the enemy base and also these tanks here. Who's around the corner? Hello, Mr. Italian, you're looking at the wrong tank. And he's just shredding this guy. These shells are so effective. He's tracked him so he can't go anywhere, and he's gonna die. There you go. Now in the meantime, that Chihi's still there, and Wazwulf wants a piece of him. He's already badly damaged him. He's only got a quarter of his hit points left, but that position's actually very useful to the enemy, not only because you can snipe at our guys as they're going towards the hill, but also because it actually allows them to spot what's going on the plateau above the cap area, and that will enable any enemy Arty to normally fire in that direction. There's no Arty in this game, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And now the Chihi realizes he's in grave danger. He's a one-shot, and he's out the game. So 2 kills now to Wazwulf. Now the Matilda tank actually developed between 1936 and 1938. It's the second Matilda tank. This is the Matilda 2, although they rarely actually tell you that. The Matilda 1 was quite a different contraption. It's actually the A12 infantry tank. That's why it's so slow. It replaced by the Valentine. And basically they manufactured 2,987 of them by August of 1943, and they saw service just about everywhere, not just in the Pacific theatre of operations, but in Europe. Even the Soviets actually had a few of them because we shipped them over, and Matildas were in action in the defense of Moscow. And the enemy Matilda's gone down. Oh, he just spotted something. It's a Hetzer. Now, which gun does that guy have? Does he have the derp gun? It looks like he's got the derp gun, but we can't see him. Yes, he has got the derp gun. We're using the premium rounds because he's got very good armor at the front, but weak armor. It does have weak spots. And of course, if you can hit the sides of a Hetzer, you will penetrate. Now, Wazwulf is a clever guy because he's actually switched back to the standard AP because, of course, the APCR is quite expensive. The enemy is actually holding the top of the hill at the moment, and they've got an M3 up there, so obviously he'll keep us spotted. And he might actually decide to shoot down on us. He is only a short distance away. There he is. No, he's decided to go past that gap. But Wazwulf's going over to the houses to give him a bit of cover. The M3 is still holding the center of the hill. But he's trying to defend it against our guys who are trying to take the hill. We're one down on the enemy at the moment, so they are doing well. Oh, nice shot through the wall into the Panzer III Ausführung E. It's one of the earlier versions of the Panzer III, which was used as basically an anti-tank tank, funnily enough. It was the Panzer IV that was actually the support tank used to support troops. But they switched it around when they actually put the bigger gun into the Panzer IV. Because, of course, the Panzer III could not carry much more than the 5cm gun, which was effective against enemy tanks, but just wasn't carrying a large enough HE round for them to use against gun emplacements and the like, whereas the Panzer IV could do that. Oh, 2 tanks. There's the Panzer III Ausführung E. 2 more. Kill shot. Oh, he missed it. Okay, he's got no shot in the boost on a tanky. That's it. Got him now. He pulls back. He knows that he's in trouble. The Hetzer, 1 shot, and he's out the game. That's 4 kills now for Wazwulf. And he takes down the Panzer III Ausführung E with 1 shot as well. That's 5 kills. So now he's on for a Top Gun. If he can take out one of these remaining tanks here. Well, there's a few tanks still in. Aim for the cupola. Oh, he got him anyway. That's the Top Gun. Now he's tier 4, which means he can't earn a Radley Walters or a Pools medal. Trust me, I've actually had 10 kills in the Matilda. I know how painful it can be. And unfortunately, Wazwulf gets taken out by something he cannot stop, which is a PaK 40. The FCM PaK 40 is a monster when it comes to sniping people. And it's a very powerful gun. So powerful, if you've ever seen, there's a video on YouTube of them firing a PaK 40 on a range, and the gun almost leaps into the air, and the cloud of dust that was kicked up. It's only 75mm, but it's a very high velocity 75mm, and it will carve through just about everything. Of course, the Germans fitted a lot of vehicles, and they captured a lot of French vehicles, and they fitted other guns into them. Obviously, that's where we get the PP from, which was a Char B1 with a 105mm howitzer in. But they did actually capture French vehicles and then turn them into tank destroyers, and well, they did use them for what they were originally in the first place. They called those tanks Beautypanzer or Prize Panzers. We're now watching a Panzer S35, which, as you may know, is a Samur S35, which has been captured. We've got the advantage. Only 1 tank up on the enemy, but remember they've got that PaK 40, and he is deadly. So they're trying to sneak up on him, but this S35 is out in the open now, and he needs to worry, because that PaK 40 could have him in his sights. Shells are going in where they think he is, in the bushes. He may have switched positions, and he's coming up exactly the same way that Wazwulf came out before he got killed. I think Wazwulf wasn't anticipating that he'd come across the PaK 40. He was just blasting away at the enemy tanks, but didn't realize that the PaK 40 was aiming at him. Now we've got the danger, because he's gone into the cap. He's going to get fired on, and he is being fired on. He's just received a round from the FCM, the PaK 40, and he got set alight. Oh, and he's just sitting there side on to the PaK 40, who keeps pumping rounds into him, but the PaK 40 goes down, and that means now the enemy's only got 1 tank left, an M8A1. Now, he is a top player, so he should be capable of taking this guy down, because he has, well, very badly damaged. Now the S-35 is looking for him. He has got a damaged engine. The M8A1 was last seen on the west side of the map, and it probably would be a good idea for him to get into the cap now, because we've got our Pak 40 and our Panzer B2 covering us. They won't be able to chase that guy down. Oh, he's nearby! And yes, he was probably over there in the bushes waiting, and he managed to take us down, but the guys up ahead, up above, they couldn't spot him. And so sadly, he's gone down, and now we need somebody to get into the cap, or at least go hunting for that enemy tank destroyer. No, he's not there. You're looking on the west side of the map where he was. He's actually over in the bushes on the west side of the main area, in the bushes where he was last, the FTM was last spotted. Still got plenty of time to go. If I was this FCM Pak 40, I would probably go over the cliff down to the bottom and then use the lake to go along the edge of the lake towards the ground down in the south to get to spot K3, and then sneak up through the gap there. We can see from the health chart that supposedly the M8A1 has health of 357 hit points, so he is fairly healthy, but he has taken some damage because that's not the standard health for an M8A1. The B2, well, he's not doing anything that will help us to win the game where he's sitting there, and it's too late really for him to come down from that perch and go around. But if this guy does what he's doing at the moment, keeps going straight forward, he's going to get taken out by that M8A1. The Panzer B2 really can only come down and go straight to the cap. Can't go around the hill to come down to it, so he can't be spotted. And the Pak 40, well, this is what you'd expect from an assault tank, to actually go straight towards the enemy. This thing has very, very thin armor around the shields around the gun, and so it can easily be taken down if you can get a shell into the armor, and that's basically what the Panzer S-35 did. He fired at the gun shield to take out the Pak 40. Ideally, you should actually sit behind the wrecks in the cap area, give you a bit of added protection. The B2 is still overlooking or overwatching, I should say, the cap area, so we don't think the M8A1 has moved. There is one tank, the booster tanky Shem, is actually in the... Oh, he's changed position! He's behind the buildings. I thought that B2 had spotted the guy, but he hadn't, and now he's firing rounds in. He is an expert player. The B2's firing at him as well now. But now we've got a problem. We can't get into the cap, and we're now potentially not quite a one-shot for the M8A1, but I don't think the Pak 40 wants to go into the cap now. He's going to have to get behind those wrecks and try and push them forward to give him a bit of extra cover. So, very sneaky player. He managed to get across the gap without the Panzer B2 spotting him. I thought the Panzer B2 would have enough view range to see that guy moving. Well, the Panzer B2 is now coming down to help. In the meantime, the Pak 40, he's actually sitting behind the bush, so he is basically in the bush mechanic, or could use the bush mechanic, but he probably can't see that M8A1, and we're into the last minute, so I don't think we're going to be able to cap out. This is going to have to be a kill or draw. If they kill the M8A1, they get the win. If they don't, it's going to be a draw. And seeing as that's a good player, I think it is going to be a draw. Okay, he's just repositioning himself. He doesn't want to get hit anymore. You can see how effective the... oh, no! Well, we didn't want that to happen. The B2 just got taken out by the M8A1, who was obviously sitting in the bush, waiting for somebody to spot up. And, well, the PaK-40 should have fired a few rounds into that bush to discourage that guy. But it's too late now, and that's the end of the game. Here's the end of battle stats. That was an ace tanker game for Wazwulf in the Matilda. He managed to get a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one, he managed to get 7. He got a cool-headed for surviving at least 10 ricochets, non-penetrating shots in a row, a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game overall, and a top gun for getting at least 6 kills. His win rate was very high indeed, 20,519, but sadly he was killed at the end of the game by the enemy PaK-40, and unfortunately they've ended up with a draw. Let's have a look at team score. Well, 2,454 hit points of damage. It's a huge amount of damage for Wazwulf. Second highest damage in that one went to the PaK-40 on the enemy team, the guy who killed him, 1,417. And surprisingly, the really good M8A1 player, the guy who actually survived on the enemy team, had exactly the same amount. So they're both in joint second place on damage, 1,417 hit points. When it came to kills, Wazwulf got that one with 6 kills. 5 kills went to the good M8A1 player on the enemy team, and 3 kills went to the SAU-40 on his own team, and also the PaK-40 and M3 Stuart on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, yep, Wazwulf got that one as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 740 went to Wazwulf, 597 went to the PaK-40 on the enemy team, and 417 went to the good player in the M8A1, Tanko01. He's actually much better than most of the other players. So you might say it's a bit of a seal clubber. Anyway, at least I can make that accusation because, after all, his stats are just so much better than all the other players. We can see that Wazwulf fired 58 rounds in the game, got 50 direct hits on the enemy and 48 penetrations, 2,454 hit points of damage, of which 393 were at more than 300 meters, 42 hits received from the enemy, 9 of those penetrated, 33 non-penetrations, and 739 hit points of damage blocked by armor. If only that PaK-40 hadn't been there, then he might have actually ended up with a steel wall at the end of the game if he'd managed to cap out while sitting behind those wrecks. But sadly, unfortunately, he moved forward, and the PaK-40 had a clean shot at him, which meant obviously he was going to go down. 5 enemy vehicles spotted, 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 6 killed, 314 hit points of damage resistance. Now, despite the fact that he did fire a fair amount of premium rounds, he still made a profit from the game of 1,306 credits on a premium account. 25 bonds, because he obviously completed a mission, and also got 1,717 experience points as well. He got the Courageous Resistance Award because he got so many medals in that game as well. If you get a Battle Hero medal or an Epic medal in a game like this, where it's a draw or a loss, you end up getting a little bit extra to boost your score to that of what would be the winning team, because, of course, you did so well in the game. That's Wargaming's way of rewarding you for performing extra well in games where you might not win. So, well done to Wazwulf for doing so well in the game, but bad luck, unfortunately, for coming up against the PaK-40. He was able to stop you and prevent you from actually going into that cap area and winning the game. Yes, it was a case of shoot at everything that comes near you at the end of the game. And, of course, he did engage 8 enemy tanks. He was on the way to what you would normally get a Radley Walters for anything above tier 5. This is tier 4, so you can't get a Radley Walters. But he was just showing how effective the Matilda can be, because it can literally tear enemies apart if you get into the right match. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.